Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Frick Center on the campus of the University of Dayton, as it is semifinal volleyball action tonight in the Atlantic 10 tournament. My name is Shane White, and I'm joined here by former Dayton Flyers standout Mandy Roby, and we are here for semifinal number 1, featuring the Dayton Flyers, the number 1 seed in the A10 tournament, versus the Duquesne Dukes, a 3-2 winner last night over George Washington, and they will come in as the 5 seed in this semifinal matchup, looking for a spot in Sunday's championship match. Mandy, thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you.
And we got a great matchup tonight between these two teams. Only met once during the regular season, Dayton coming out on top 3-0 here at home. But it's tournament time, and as we saw last night with 2 5-set matches, anything can happen.
Yes, Shane. For a while there, it looked like George Washington had clinched that first with the 2-set win, but Duquesne came back strong and proved they were not done here in this tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out and respond, and how Dayton responds with their first game this tournament.
And it being the first game for Dayton, of course, they have that number 1 seed, so they have to bye into this semifinal. That can be a blessing and a curse, because last night they were able to watch the teams play, but tonight Duquesne has a little bit of an advantage because they've already played once within the last day, and they kind of know how everything goes. But of course, it's Dayton's home court too.
Right. On one hand, of course, it is Dayton's home court, but on the other, and they also have fresh legs, you would think, but on the other hand, Duquesne already is in the tournament mindset. They've had a chance to be in an extremely close first game, 5-set win, and come out on top. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams come out.
For Duquesne, last night's match was really just a triumph of wills, trying to see who would be the one to come out of that battle alive. And for the longest time, it looked like it was going to be George Washington, but then Duquesne slowly but surely pulled away. And the stars of last night for the Dukes, Sarah Sherman, 18 kills off 54 swings with 8 errors, a 185 hitting percentage, 13 kills for Allison Fosha, 12 for Liz Homan, and 7 for Ashley Buse. So the Flyers will need to look on those 4 individuals and really try to impose their will if they want to advance.
Yes, it wasn't until those 3rd, 4th, and 5th sets that Duquesne was able to get some middle involvement, especially from Liz Homan, and then that gave the outside Sarah Sherman and Allison Fosha an opportunity to have some open looks. So the key will definitely be ball control, because that's what allows you to run the middle. So if Duquesne can establish some ball control early and can therefore establish their offense, they'll give Dayton a little bit of trouble.
And so at this time, we'd like to recognize some of the all-conference participants that are taking place in tonight's championship match in the semifinal, as the all-conference teams were announced earlier this week, and Mandy's going to tell us a little bit about who is represented from these 2 teams.
Yes, Shane, of course, these 2 teams have advanced this far in the tournament, and we'll see and hear a lot of names making up that first team, especially from Dayton. Rachel Kraybacker out of Dayton, a junior outside hitter from Cincinnati, Ohio, getting the nod not only with first conference honors, but also being the player of the year. Also, coach of the year was selected from the University of Dayton, head coach Kelly Sheffield. Megan Campbell, the sophomore middle blocker from Versailles, Ohio, also getting a first team nod from Dayton. Samantha Selsky rounds out that first team all-conference from Dayton, a junior setter out of Manhattan Beach, California. And then moving on to the second team, Yvonne Martin, a Dayton senior outside hitter from Fortville, Indiana, was able to get onto the second team, along with Paige Vargas, the libero from Naperville, Illinois. Liz Homan, also from Duquesne, the senior middle blocker from Montezuma, Ohio, who became crucial in last night's victory over George Washington, made the second team as well. Honorable mention, Sarah Shearman of Duquesne, a junior outside hitter from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, made the honorable mention team. And also a couple all rookies. We have Isolda Hannon, the middle from Dayton, from Dublin, Ohio, and also Ariel Love from Duquesne, the freshman from Maple Heights, Ohio. She helped a lot last night on the blocking front, was able to get Duquesne more involved in this game. So now we're just about ready to get underway here at the Frerichs Center. I'm going to turn this over to our very own play-by-play announcer, Shane White, to do the national anthem and get us started here in semifinal action. That was our very own play-by-play announcer, Shane White, with the national anthem. I also failed to mention one more person on that all-rookie team from Duquesne, Patty Abshire, a freshman out of New Berlin, Wisconsin, rounding out that all-rookie team. So now we welcome back our play-by-play announcer, Mr. Shane White, as we ready to get underway here and start announcing the lineups for tonight's match.
And so we're going to start out just like we did last night, as we will have the non-starters announced first. So they're doing that right now for the Duquesne Dukes. And they will get everybody out on the court, and then they will announce their starting lineups for the evening. It will definitely be an exciting atmosphere here in the Frerichs Center,
yes,
as we've got many more fans than we had last night. Of course, some of that attributed to Dayton being in this matchup, but also Duquesne has a pretty nice following as well.
They do, and we mentioned a lot of those players being from northern Ohio, obviously Pittsburgh being not that far away, and so a little bit of a little Duquesne flair here in the Frerichs Center. It'll make it a great match.
And so here are the starters for the Dukes. That outside hitter, a 5'10 junior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, number 4, Sarah Sherman. At libero, a 5'6 freshman out of New Berlin, Wisconsin, number 5, Patty Abshire. Also at outside hitter, a redshirt senior, 6 foot out of St. Mary's, Ohio, number 6, Nicole Wright. At setter, a 5'8 junior out of New Bremen, Ohio, number 10, Taylor Jones. At middle hitter, a 6-foot senior out of Montezuma, Ohio, number 13, Liz Homan. And rounding out the lineup, a outside hitter at 6 foot, a sophomore out of Northfield Center, Ohio, number 16, Allison Fosha. There's your lineup there for the Dukes, and we also missed, at 6'1 junior, a middle hitter out of Moon Township, Pennsylvania, number 9, Ashley Buse. So there are your starting lineups for the Dukes. Now they're introducing the non-starters for Dayton, as this is the first time that many of these young ladies have been introduced this season.
Yes.
So it's kind of a fun experience for them.
Yes, it is.
And the starting lineup for the Flyers, pretty familiar to those of you who've been following us on DaytonFlyers.com this year, but since we're on the Atlantic 10 network tonight, we will make sure that we get everything out for everyone. So starting off the evening for the Flyers, at outside hitter, a 6'4 junior out of Cincinnati, Ohio, number 2, Rachel Kraybacker. At libero, a 5'8" junior out of Naperville, Illinois, number 3, Paige Vargas. At outside hitter, a 6'2" senior out of Fortville, Indiana, number 7, Yvonne Martin. At middle blocker and right side, a 6'1" sophomore out of Versailles, Ohio, number 12, Megan Campbell. At middle blocker, a 6-foot freshman out of Dublin, Ohio, number 13, Isolde Hannon. At setter, a 5'10" junior out of Manhattan Beach, California, number 15, Sam Selsky. And at right side, a 6-foot sophomore out of Lakewood, Colorado, number 19, Shane Brown. So there are your lineups. The matchups are set. The teams are shaking hands now at center court. We have our officials for the evening. Barb Strom will be your first referee. Steve Webster down here on the floor is the second referee. Sterling Kaimumoku and Darren Frizzell on the lines. Mary Black, your scorekeeper, and Paula Bach. So that takes care of everyone who's in the building working on this match tonight, and it's certainly going to be an exciting one, as you can hear the Dayton Pep Band in the background.
Yes, we're quite used to the Dayton Flyer Pep Band. Gets the crowd going. Makes it a little hard for us to hear, but it makes for a great environment here for this Atlantic 10 Conference Championship.
So that will be our environmental challenge this evening. So those of you who are listening at home, we hope you're able to pick up what we're saying along with the Pep Band and get a little kind of a spirit of what this atmosphere is all about here in the Frerick Center. Dayton will begin to serve, and back to serve for the Flyers will be the libero, Paige Vargas. Dug by Absher. Jones sets to the right. It'll be dug up by Selsky. Vaughn Martin will swing, dug up in the back row. Jones will set this one left. Goes on the outstretched hands, but dug up in the back row by Kraybacker. Yvonne Martin will swing and get the cross-court kill.
That was a great cut shot there by Yvonne Martin, the lone senior on this Dayton Flyers squad here. Her last Atlantic 10 championship.
Paige Vargas back to serve for the Flyers once again. Dayton with the early lead, 1-0. Dug up again by Duquesne. Jones will set to the left, in the middle actually, and that's going to be a net violation. And on Shane Brown, I believe, is who they're going to call that on. So a blocking error by the Flyers will turn it back to Duquesne, 1-1.
You can see Duquesne has definitely come out aggressive here in this first set.
Fosha with that the serve, and that time a one-handed set by Sam Selsky as she was able to get that to Megan Campbell for the kill.
Sam Selsky, this is her first time starting this year for the Flyers. Had an impressive year, was named setter of the year for the A10.
So here's Allie Morey in to serve for the Flyers, and Patty Absher unable to get out of the way of that serve, and it's going to be an ace for Morey. 3-1, Flyers on top.
Absher recognized that the ball was out, was just unable to get out of the way.
Morey goes back to the back row, and Jones will push that one over, and that's going to be a kill that time for Liz Homan, as Homan just had to poke that one over. And Schwab will come in to serve for Liz Homan. Sydney Schwab, a 5'7" senior out of Bradford Woods, Pennsylvania. 3-2, Dayton on top early. Dug by Morey. Selsky will set the pipe to Kraybacker, and that's going to float the other way. And Selsky will set that one to Campbell, and she'll push it over. Now an out of system ball here from the middle, and it's going to be blocked in the middle, that time by Megan Campbell and Sam Selsky.
Well, Shane, it looks like both teams have the right idea about incorporating that back row attack into the game. Again, it's that little bit of a different angle of an attack that makes that so effective.
Yvonne Martin back to serve for the Flyers. Roll shot serve there will be overpassed, and Megan Campbell will kill that right at the middle of the net.
It was interesting that she didn't swing at that ball. I would have thought she would have redirected it with a swing, because sometimes it can be so controversial whether that's a lift or not.
Exactly, so you want to make sure you don't get called for the prolonged contact. And that's going to be a service error by Yvonne Martin. 5-3, Dayton on top. Substitution for the Dukes. Ariel Love comes into the front row to replace Nicole Wright. And back to serve will be Jones.
Both teams, I think, have the same jersey on, actually, now that I'm noticing that long sleeve jersey.
Just different color blocks. As there goes Megan Campbell on the slide, and she'll get the kill.
Well, that's a set that the Dayton Flyers have been running all season long, that back quick to Megan Campbell, and it's proved to be very effective for them this season.
Campbell with the serve. To the middle there, bullet pass. Middle's get a hand on it, and Selski will reset. She'll push it over to Krabacher. Nice dig there by Jones. Lives to Love, and now Dayton will reset once again. Comes Cray with another swing, and that's going to be a kill for Rachel Krabacher. 7-3, Dayton on top. Early here in the first set, Megan Campbell still serving for the Flyers. With a great dig there, and that time it took a bit of a acrobatic move by the setter to try to save that ball, but ultimately hit out of bounds by Duquesne.
Well, that was a good decision there by Buse to cut it back across her body. That's just an error she's got to put in bounds.
Dug up again in the back row by Fosha, and hit on the outside hand that time of Selski, and it will be a kill for Sherman.
Sherman coming into this match leading in total kills for this A10 championship tournament after last night.
Sherman to serve. Jump serve there. Selski will set it over to Cray. Cray will go cross court with it, and that's her bread and butter shot.
That is her bread and butter. Both her and Yvonne Martin have a very potent cross court shot, and they are exploiting Duquesne's defense there on the cross court.
And Shane Brown back into the lineup for the Flyers. She replaces Allie Morey. Sam Selski to serve. Dug up by Absher. Jones will set that to the middle, but it was going to be a net violation by the Flyers. And
I
that
couldn't
was
tell
on
who
Z. Hannon.
was in the net, but it was moving.
Yeah, definitely the net was going up and down. Didn't know if it was on the attack or the block.
Yes.
But I have a feeling it probably got pushed into the attacker because Dayton was in the net. Krabacher with a big swing, goes off the hands and will remain with Duquesne. Now Fosha with the swing. Dayton covers. Selski sends it deep corner. Duquesne does get an up on it, and they'll send a free ball over. Vargas will set it back up. Selski will set Shane Brown on the slide. Duquesne digs that one up. Jones will go to the right this time with with Love, and Love will get the kill in the corner. And it's 9-6. Dayton still on top, but Duquesne cutting into this lead.
Well, I'll tell you, Dayton's got to be able to capitalize on that free ball play. It was a solid backslide to Shane Brown, but they got to be able to put that away.
Selski on the Shane Brown slide again, and that time she terminates.
There she does. She listened to the broadcast.
Absolutely. You know, we think we're not that loud up here, but apparently the players can hear exactly what we're saying. Dayton on top 10-6. Rachel Krabacher going back to serve for the Flyers. Dug up that time by Buse, and a good block by the Flyers as Hannon and Martin on the right side block, and it will be 11-6 Dayton.
This is really going to be a battle of two pretty solid blocking teams. It'll be interesting to see the blocking statistics as we move through these sets.
Jones will set that one to the middle once again, hits hands, but Krabacher to dig it up. Selski with the quick set to Z. Hannon, and Hannon gets it to go down. 12-6, Flyers on top, and that will lead to our first timeout as Duquesne will call a timeout. 12-6, Flyers on top here early in the first set. You know, we talked about Duquesne being a good blocking team based on what we saw last night against George Washington. Dayton presents a little bit of a different challenge because of their size.
Yes. George Washington was a little bit undersized across the board. If you compare them to the Duquesne team, a little bit more physical with Fosha and Homan across that front line, Ariel, Love there on the right side. But, you know, Dayton comes in and they match person for person almost bigger across the front line. So it'll be interesting to see if Duquesne can stop them on that front line. They will be able to, you know, shorten the gap in this set. Now, it did take Duquesne a couple of sets to get going with George Washington, but I don't think they're going to have that same luxury against this Dayton Flyer team.
Dayton being a team that's been able to take out, for the most part, their conference competitors in 3 sets.
Yes.
Now, the notable exception being the 5-set matchup with Xavier that they lost down at Xavier, and 2 3-1 matchups where they beat Xavier here at the Frerick Center and St. Louis here at the Frerick Center.
Right. Most games have been a 3-set decision, so they know how to close out a match. That's why Duquesne desperately has to get the rhythm set now.
Craybacker with a nice serve there. Jones will set that to the middle again. Craybacker with a nice dig. Set on the slide to Shane Brown, and it's a block for Duquesne, as it looks like Fosha was all over that and read the slide very well.
Yes, that's the kind of, and it was a single block. It was a great read there by Fosha. Great start coming out of the timeout. Let's see if they can string together a couple of points here. Nicole
Wright back in the lineup and back to serve for Duquesne. Vargas will dig that to Selski, over to Martin. Martin will terminate that one as it goes off the hands and into the second level of stands here in the Frerick Center. 13-7, Flyers on top.
Martin demonstrating what every good outside hitter needs to have, a range and variety of shots. You saw that sharp cross court early in the first set, and then she hammers it down the line.
Vargas to serve again as we've rotated around through one rotation. And that time a nice tip shot there by Homan, as Homan was able to get it over the outstretched hands, and Megan Campbell just making a misplay on it and touching it when she had someone there to cover it.
Yes.
Nice serve that time. Vargas will set it up. Cray will come from the back row. Jones now sets it for the middle for Fosha, and it goes over the triple block of the Flyers and off the hands of Sam Selski. 13-9, Dayton on top, but Duquesne surging here as Fosha will go back to serve.
Yeah, Duquesne responded nicely out of that timeout.
Cray again with the dig, and now Martin will tip shot that one. Jones will set over to the left side. Good block by the Flyers, and it will stay with Dayton. And it'll set out of the pipe. And good up there by Duquesne. Selski gets in on that one. Nice set by Campbell. Yvonne Martin will get that one to go down in the corner. Nice ball control on both sides of the net.
Yes, that was a great rally. Again, battle of the back row attacks. Both teams fighting defensively, but just a great shot there by Yvonne Martin to close out that rally and get that point.
And both of those attacks were not set by the setter. The setter was out after the first dig. Jones with the set here in the middle, and Dayton wisely holds off on that. And it will be 15-9, Dayton on top, as Allie Morey's back into the lineup. She just served that last point and will serve again. Serving from left-hand side of the service line. Absher sends that one over to Jones. And that will be Vargas to Selski, back over on the left side to Martin, and Martin scuds that one out of bounds. And Schwab will come back into the Duke lineup as she'll go back to serve for Duquesne. Senior defensive specialist coming into that back row for Holman, I believe. And a nice block that time on the Megan Campbell slide. And I believe that was Sherman and Buse on the block.
Well, they know if you're going to scout Dayton, you're going to know that they're going to utilize that slide attack with Campbell and Brown. So you got to be able to mix up that offense a little bit better.
Nice pass there. Go over to Yvonne Martin. Good cover by the Flyers. Selski will try Martin again. She gets hands that time and terminates. 16-11, Dayton on top.
Also, as a setter, you got to know if a hitter's continuing to be successful, we always say, go to the hot hand. I mean, you got to feed Yvonne. She's had 3 or 4 kills right there in a row. Keep giving her the ball.
Tonight. And a good serve there by Martin. And it's going to be a lift over
the proper call
on the Dayton side, and that was the proper call to make. The R1 was blocked, and so she was waiting for some help from her R2
some
down here on the floor.
Yes.
So just not closing and pushing that block over far enough. Jones back to serve for Duquesne. Morey with the dig. Now Campbell will run the mini slide, and she gets a good throw down.
Yep, Dayton is most effective when they can run that quick slide and be able to divide the block, but it is not as effective just going over the top of that double when Duquesne's able to read.
Megan Campbell with the serve there, and Jones will have it up. And that time hit off the hands of the Flyer blockers, does Buse, and Buse gets a kill for the Dukes. 17-13, Flyers still on top. Duquesne back to serve. Sherman will now be serving for the Dukes. Jump serve here. Martin handles it well. Selski will go for the attack and kill. And I was just about to say we've not seen either setter attack the ball yet, but that was the perfect opportunity for Sam Selski to do that. Now she rotates to the back row.
Selski normally makes it a part of the offense of incorporating those dumps. Jones, it's more of a situational if the ball is tight, but we haven't seen it from either setters until then.
Good dig that time by Vargas. He'll set over to Krabacher. Krabacher terminates toward the back line, and it will be 19-13, Flyers on top, as Sam Selski will go back to serve once again. So Dayton finding holes in the floor defense early of Duquesne. Set there, Vargas with dig. Shane Brown on the slide, and Dayton will send the free ball over. Jones now setting to the right side to Love, and Dayton brings it back up. Now Krabacher will go again. Jones now set over to the left side to Fosha. Good block by the Flyers, and it's back on the Duquesne side. Fosha with the roll shot. Selski set the quick middle to to Hannon, and then on the overpass, Krabacher terminates.
I think the key right now to Dayton's success is winning those long rallies. Not only is it a point for your team, but it's a momentum thing. To win those long rallies, it takes a lot out of your team if you don't come out on the winning end.
And Duquesne calls another timeout. So that's timeout number 2 for the Dukes for this set. So they're out of timeouts. Dayton still with both of theirs left. Dayton on top 20-13. So far it seems like the tempo of the match is favoring Dayton.
Definitely.
And Duquesne, they are getting some good balls up, but I'm not sure they're going to the right hitters in the right situation.
Correct. I think they're making some proper choices with getting their middles involved, but the middles have been unable to execute early, which has forced them to go outside. And once a team becomes one-dimensional from that standpoint, it becomes very easy to block and floor defend. And as you mentioned earlier, Shane, I think the floor defense for Dayton so far has been stronger, or I guess you could contribute that to Dayton's outside hitters finding the holes in Duquesne's defense.
And so both teams come back out onto the court to continue here in set 1. Dayton on top 20-13. Sam Selski back to serve for the Flyers. Selski will serve this from the right side of the service line. Absher with the dig. Jones now sets the slide. A block by the Flyers, but Duquesne will have it to send over. Love with the roll shot. Selski to the set to Krabacher, and Krabacher terminates once again. You know, that time the shot was shorter in, caught Absher a little bit on her heels, not able to get forward.
Yes, Absher's got to get on her toes, ready to dig that ball, because that's sharp and it's coming to the floor fast.
Selski with the serve there. Jones. And Martin will dig that one up. Getting to Hannon there. And Jones again on the right side. Love will take a big swing, and she will terminate. And that's a nice placement by Love as she put that right into the back right corner of the Flyers defense.
Yes, oftentimes when the setter's back row like that, and she has two different jobs, not only to defend but also run the offense, it's a good shot to hit towards the right side of that court.
And a slide attack that time by Shane Brown, and Brown gets it to go down, and it's 22-14. Flyers in command here in the first set. Krabacher back to serve for Dayton. Short dig that time. Love will set it. Fosha with the attack. And Dayton on the block, and a free ball will come over. Selski will now give it to Hannon on the quick set in the middle. Now over to the right side by Love. Dayton with it. Nice work that time by Paige Vargas as she was able to tiptoe along that 10-foot line and stay behind it so that she could get the back row attack.
Yes, that was a good eye there by Paige Vargas, and probably one of the harder back row attacks I've seen from Rachel Krabacher this year.
And a float serve that time by Cray up into the front of the net. Flyers pressing over. Good one-arm save that time by Selski. Cray will take that, and it'll be a joust at the net, and that's going to be a net violation on Duquesne,
on Holman.
and it looks like it's going to be on Holman. So a blocking error sends us to 24-14, set point here for the Flyers. Set number 1, Craybacker with the serve, Absher with the dig bullet to Jones. Vargas with another great dig. Selski pulls that one out of the net, and he'll send the free ball over. And that time it's going to be a back row block against Duquesne as Yvonne Martin went up for that ball in the plane, and the setter was back row.
Yes.
So nice decision there by Yvonne Martin, and that will lead us to set number 1 going to Dayton. Dayton takes the first set, 25-14. You are listening to the 2011 Atlantic 10 Volleyball Championships here on Atlantic10.com. They look good.
Right now, the NCAA is building over 400,000 future professionals. And most of us will go pro in something other than sports.
Shane White and Mandy Roby back with you here at the Frerick Center for the semifinals of the Atlantic 10 Volleyball Championships. It's Dayton versus Duquesne, and Dayton jumps out to the early 1-0 lead as they lead the first set 25-14. And looking at the statistics for that first set, the Flyers hitting an astonishing 432 in set number 1, 19 kills, 37 total attacks, only 3 errors. By contrast, Duquesne hit 139 in that set, 9 kills, 4 errors off 36 total swings. Dayton sided out at 78%, while Duquesne was only able to side out at 43%. You look at the block numbers thus far, even for both sides, but these numbers only tell us the number of completed blocks that actually led to a point.
Right.
Both teams have been active at the net, sending balls back over, but both teams have been able to do quite a bit of digging to get those balls back up.
You're right, Shane. I think when you look at the total team blocks here, they're even. You don't think that that plays a big part in the game, but it's really the difference in hitting percentage here, where you can tell that Dayton is dominating. You look at a little bit of individual statistics. Rachel Craybacker, the Atlantic 10 Conference Player of the Year, playing to that name. 6 kills off of 13 attempts, 0 errors, hitting .462 for the match so far. 4 digs, no block assists, but it's a little early. So she comes out on fire, and often coaches will tell you it's a matter of your outside hitter play. It's a matter of your ball control, how your team dominates the serve and pass game, but then after that you look and see, are your outside hitters producing? And I think right now Dayton can say 375 percentage for Yvonne Martin and a 462 percentage from Rachel Craybacker, that they are doing their job.
And Megan Campbell also hitting 600 as Duquesne serves here to start the second set. Selski will set that to pipe to Craybacker. It's dug up in the back row. Jones will set Holman, and Yvonne Martin gets a second swing at it, and by luck that time actually got the kill.
A little look at Duquesne's individual statistics. Sarah Shearman, 1 kill off 4 attempts, hitting .250. They got to feed her a little bit more, I think. And also Ashley Buse, 2 for 4, hitting .500.
So Allie Morey into the lineup, and she serves for the Flyers. On the slide approach is Holman. She'll send it back over the other way, and it'll be a back row by, that time, Sherman. And now Megan Campbell will go back row, on the slide, trying to tip that, but it's going to be a kill over on the left side by Allison Fosha that will terminate that play for the Dukes.
Fosha getting the most attempts by far with 13 through that first set. So that tells me they got to get their middles a little more involved here for Duquesne.
Yvonne Martin will swing on that one and get back up to block, and it will stay with Duquesne. And a big swing that time by Sherman, but it doesn't hit any hands. And so it will go out of bounds and belong to Dayton. Dayton with the early lead, 2-1 here in set 2. Yvonne Martin back to serve for the Flyers. Dug up by Fosha. Jones will set the really quick set that time to her right side hitter, and that was Holman who sent that one down. It went off the hands of the block, and it'll be a kill for Duquesne. 2-all, second set.
That's what Jones has to do, start feeding Holman on those little quick balls, get that to the middle. It was a positive touch there for Duquesne.
Dug up that time by Allie Morey, and Rachel Kraybacker will come through and swing on the left side, and she'll get the kill.
Well, that was a good set selection there by Samantha Selski. Recognized the smaller blocker in Taylor Jones there along the front line, and that's just a size mismatch, and Kraybacker able to capitalize.
Megan Campbell with the serve down the line that time. Nice serve by Campbell. Fosha from the back row. Good dig by Martin. And she'll come screaming out of the back row to attack that one, and it's going to be a point for Dayton.
Dayton Flyers carrying a lot of that momentum from that first set into the second set so far here.
Megan Campbell with the serve. And that one's going to go out of bounds, floating just long. And it's going to be a reoccurrence for Ariel Love as she's going to come back into the lineup for Duquesne on that front row. Taylor Jones back to serve for the Dukes.
Ariel Love, along with Patty Abshire, 2 freshmen making the all-rookie team here this season for the Duquesne Dukes.
Yvonne Martin with the dig, and Kraybacker with the set, and Martin will send that one over. Jones will now set the right side to Love. Dug up, Vargas will set it. Martin will roll shot that one over, and it's going to be a pursuable ball, and we'll be looking for another free ball this time. Quick set over to Kraybacker. She reaches for that one. Jones will now set over to the left side, and another missed hit by Duquesne as Sherman was going for high hands.
Yes, looking for the touch. There. That's what she's done on both her swings here through this second set, unable to be successful. She's got to find the court here.
And back to serve will be Sam Selski for the Flyers. The lefty server, get that up, and it'll be a slide attack there, but the Flyers handle it, and Kraybacker will attack that one, and that ball is going to go out of bounds on the dig.
That was a great defensive pickup there for Paige Vargas, recognizing that tip into what we call no man's land, that little hole in the middle of the court when you're playing a perimeter defense.
Selski with the serve there, Absher with a nice dig. Jones will set that again over to Sherman, and now a slide attack that time by Shane Brown, and she tipped it long and just went off the hands of Fosha.
Well, Fosha just went at it with the wrong hand, turned herself away from the court. She needed to attack that with the left hand, which is easier said than done when you're a right-handed player. I understand that.
Taken out of the net that time, and it will remain with Duquesne. Back set to Sherman. Selski will back set to Shane Brown, and she'll go down the line once again. And Absher that time let that one go, and it will be a timeout by Duquesne. 8-3, Flyers on top here in the second set. Flyers won the first set 25-14 against the Dukes, and lead in the second set 8-3, as this will be a best-of-5 series. First team to win 3 sets will advance to tomorrow's championship matchup, and they will face the winner of the next match here on Atlantic10.com, and that will be the Xavier Musketeers versus the St. Louis Silicons. Both of those teams have seen each other quite a bit this season, and they're very familiar with each other. Most recently, they saw each other last weekend as St. Louis was able to defeat Xavier at Chavez Arena in St. Louis 3-1. So who knows what's going to happen in the next match. It should be exciting. It
should. St. Louis had to battle their way into the semifinal round here last night, going 5 sets with a very tough Rhode Island team. Their first time in 10 years being here in the tournament, and they fought And St. Louis is going to have to be ready here for a Xavier team who is very talented this year. But you're right, it's anyone's game.
And a Rhodey team that also beat Xavier earlier in the season at Rhode Island. They were definitely in the match from the very beginning.
Oh, yes.
And really gave St. Louis more of an issue than I thought St. Louis thought they would.
You're right.
Jones with the setup there for Fosha. And now Martin will dig that one. Selski pushing over to Krabacker. Krabacker gets the termination once again. And Absher, again, too far back on that back defense.
Yes, and I think the block for Duquesne has to adjust to that cross-court Krabacker attack. They've got to pull in a little bit and trust that she might hit a little bit of line here.
So Fosha will attack that from the back row. Hit by the Dayton block, and now Jones will set it over once again. And that time it will be a block by Krabacker and Hannon. And the Flyers block that of Love. And it's 10-3, Dayton on top here in set number 2. Sam Selski still serving for the Flyers. Both setters back row at this point. Absher with the dig. Jones pushing over to
good touch.
Sherman. And that was a good touch by the Flyers. And now Shane Brown will go on cross-court slide. And she gets it to go down. And it's 11-3.
The key right now for the Flyers is they're getting great defensive touches, so they're able to run their offense not only off a great serve-receive pass, but also off of a defensive play.
Selski serve goes to the libero once again. Middle attack that time, and the overpass will come back to Duquesne. Jones back over to Sherman, and Sherman gets that one out of bounds, and it will be Dayton point, 12-3.
What's those attack errors that we saw last night through those first 2 sets for Duquesne that we're starting to see now a little bit?
An overpass there, and that's going to be a back row block, as Jones was a back row setter, and Rachel Krabacker correctly went up to attack that ball when it was in the plane of the net.
Yes, the officials doing a good job tonight, keeping on top of those calls.
Selski to serve once again. This time she goes the opposite side of the court to Fosha. And now Sherman will attack that one. Good dig by Vargas. Selski pushing over to Krabacker, and Krabacker will terminate, going cross and through the block that time. 14-3, Flyers on top here in the second set.
Yes, Krabacker just continuing to show utter dominance, I think, through this first 2 sets. Nearly perfect with no errors.
Jones on the slide this time to Buse. Now Selski will reset the offense. Krabacker will go again, and it's going to be Shane Brown. Had the touch off the block, it rolled along the top of the tape, and then Shane Brown terminated that. Nice work there by Dayton, just being aware of where the ball is.
I was just going to say, it was good court awareness to get that easy point.
Because Duquesne was there ready to dig that one up. And that's going to be an out of rotation this time on Duquesne. And now Steve Opperman is trying to plead his case as to why that wasn't an out of rotation. But
I think Jones thought it was her jumping too early.
Yeah, she thought it was too early, but this is going to be a replay, as he did have the rotation wrong in that sense, as he was trying to think about where they are on the court. So it'll be a replay here, and Sam Selski will go back to serve once again. And Jones has to reach to set that one, and a nice middle attack that time by Sherman, but the Flyers come right back with a poke right across.
Well, that was a great save there by Sam Selski, the one-arm save out of the plane of the net, and great execution by Shane.
To go down. And there's a service error for the Flyers, and it is 16-3. Dayton on top. 16-4, excuse me. And Sherman will go back to serve right now for the Duquesne Dukes. Jump serve there, Martin with the pass, and it's an overpass kill.
Those are fun to get, Shane. You don't often get those overpass kills, but often it's because you don't expect, if you're the opposing team, for the ball to come back over on the first contact.
And Rachel Krabacker will serve that one. That's going to be an overpass. And Isolde Hannon up on that one, and will come back to Dayton. Vargas will now set it for Rachel Krabacker from the back row. Dug up by Jones. It'll be set by Love. Fosha sends it over, and now it comes back to Duquesne. Jones will set the middle. Dayton on the block, but the block goes out of bounds, and it will be 17-5. Duquesne with the point. Patty Absher going back to serve for the Dukes. Float serve there. Craybacker gets underneath it, and that time Yvonne Martin swings away at the line but doesn't clip anything, so it will be a point for the Dukes. 17-6, Flyers on top here in the second set. They took the first set 25-14. Float serve again, this time Cray under it a little bit better. Shane Brown on the attack, pushing toward that back line. Absher will set that one, and Sherman will send it over. Now it's back to Martin. She'll try the shot. This time Hannon goes up for the joust, but they're a little too early, not able to get both hands on it, and it will be a point for Duquesne.
Well, Duquesne's just got to start rolling here, racking as many points up off Absher's serve as they can.
Another nice serve that time by Absher. Selski will set the slide to Shane Brown. She tips it, and Duquesne keeps it up. So Selski will go over to Martin this time. Martin off the hands, but it stays up for Duquesne. Fosha will take that one. Vargas with the nice dig. Craybacker from the back row, and it will be a kill for Rachel Craybacker. 18-7, Flyers on top. Megan Campbell back into the lineup for Dayton. Isolde Hannon goes out as Vargas will go back to serve for the Flyers. Back into the Dayton student section back there as they all get very quiet as Paige Vargas begins to serve so they can get the boom at the end. Fosha with the roll shot there. Nice one-arm save by Sam Selski, but Yvonne Martin with the double contact as that ball came off a little sloppy.
Yes, it did. And they've been calling that consistently throughout this entire conference championship series, so that was a proper call. Especially from non-setter hands. They're always going to be a little bit more critical off that spin.
Nicole Wright with the serve there, up by Craybacker. Megan Campbell gets the quick set out of the middle. Kind of an A-plus set there.
Yes. Well, it's smart to run the A-plus set with Megan Campbell because she loves to run off one foot, especially with that slide attack. But you got to be able to mix up a little bit of shots in front of the setter, and the A-plus allows you to do that.
Allie Morey in for the serve there. Jones will set that on the slide to Homan. Selski now sets to Martin, who will go cross court. Dug up by Absher. Jones now to Sherman, and Sherman gets that one to go right into the opposite corner, and it's 19-9. Duquesne with the point, and Fosha going back to serve for the Dukes. Martin with the dig. Selski now will set the middle back row to Craybacker. Overpass there. Now Selski will try to dump, and it gets sent back to the Flyers in a joust. And that time, Yvonne Martin read it correctly as Jones went for the dump on the tight pass.
Yes.
And Solo blocked that one back for a point.
Well, it was good awareness there by Yvonne Martin. That Jones was up, and she saw the hand. It was great read.
Yvonne Martin now back to serve for Dayton. Will be sent back over. And that time terminated by Sherman. So Sherman will have the kill as she went line off the blocker's hands, and Schwab will go into the match to serve for Homan. A serving specialist is what Schwab has turned into. She will come back out of the game as soon as her service rotation is complete. And that goes into the net for an error, so it was a short stay for Schwab in the match in the second set, as it's 21-10, and Megan Campbell will go back to serve for the Flyers. Campbell much improved on her serve over this season.
Yes, we've watched that happen throughout the course of the season.
Nice bullet pass that time, and it will be a
Great
nice
swing.
quick attack. And a nice swing there by Sherman. And this time Craybacker will go for the attack. She goes line, and it's 22-10. Flyers on top, and Duquesne will call their second and final timeout of this second set. Flyers on top, 22-10, as they lead this best of 5 series, 1-0, 25-14 in the first, and on cruise control really here in set number 2, 22-10. And it's not because Duquesne is playing poorly
No, it's not.
in many aspects. Duquesne's doing a good job. Their passes are pretty much on target. Their setter has had the opportunity to try out different hitters, but Dayton's size and just their ability to get up on the block and to read the attack on their floor defense has really been what the difference has been in this match thus far.
Yes, you're exactly right, Shane. The floor defense has picked up everything that the block cannot, and they've been extremely sound and have the ability to run their offense the way they want to run it, which makes it extremely difficult to block. Also, Duquesne's had a lot of errors. I think you call that timeout right there at 22-10, not necessarily to win this second set, but to try to rally these girls before you go into the locker room, knowing that you're probably in all aspects going to lose this set, but you got to start rallying for that third set.
And that's what we saw happen last night with St. Louis and Rhode Island. Rhode Island was cruising in set number 4, and St. Louis called a timeout, and they rallied off about 6 or 7 points and went into set number 5 with the momentum.
Exactly.
Off the hands there of the Flyers, as Selski will set quickly to Hannon, and Hannon gets that to go down in the back row, and it's 23-10, Flyers on top. Hannon has such an unusual approach, you're not sure exactly where that ball is going to go.
Yes, she's almost got a wind-up like a baseball player. That's how long, you're right, you never truly know where the ball is going to go.
Jones will set that one again to Sherman, and it is a block that time by Hannon and Selski, and that will lead us to set point. 24-10 for set number 2 here for the Flyers. Megan Campbell back to serve it for Dayton. And that's going to go out of bounds. Went for a little much on that serve, but at 24-10, you can afford to do that.
Very true, but I'm sure the coach will not be saying that, and no coach at the Division I level normally is very happy when you miss a serve at 24, even if they are winning by a higher margin.
Jones with the serve there. Selski will set it over to Kraybacker. She'll terminate off the outstretched hands of Absher. And so that will do it for set number 2. Flyers win convincingly, 25-11. They now lead the 3 set out of 5 series, 2 sets to none, as they took the first set 25-14, second set 25-11. You're listening to the Atlantic 10 Volleyball Championships here on Atlantic10.com.
There are over 400,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us will be going pro in something other than sports.
Right now, the NCAA is building over 400,000 future professionals. And most of us will go pro in something other than sports.
Shane White and Mandy Roby back with you here at the Freerick Center, the site of the 2011 Atlantic 10 Volleyball Championship, as we have our first semifinal underway, and it's the Dayton Flyers on top of the Duquesne Dukes, 2-0 as the Flyers took the first two sets 25-14 and 25-11. Dayton, the number 1 seed, taking on Duquesne, the number 5 seed, who advanced to this matchup by dispatching last night of the number 4 seed George Washington Colonials 3-2, but finding it a little difficult to get their offense going this evening. Mandy and I were just looking at the statistics for this second set. In set number 2, the Flyers hitting 518 kills off 34 total attacks, only 1 hitting error for the Flyers. By contrast, Duquesne hitting 0, 6 kills, 6 errors, 36 swings. Mandy, what else about these statistics really jump out at you at this point?
Well, I look at the individual statistics, especially for the University of Dayton Flyers, and just Rachel Krabacker continuing to have, I think, one of her best matches all year from a hitting wise. 13 kills, 0 errors off of 25 attempts, hitting .520. And she's not even the only contributor for this squad. Yvonne Martin, 7 kills off 18 attempts, hitting .278, which is a very respectable hitting percentage. Z Hannon, 3 kills off 7 attempts, hitting .429. Megan Campbell with 5 kills off 7 attempts, hitting .571. And then also Shane Brown, 7 kills off 12 attempts, hitting .500. So it just shows you it's not just the Rachel Krabacker show. The wealth's being shared amongst all the offensive line, and they're absolutely dominating Duquesne at this point with their offense. But a statistic that you pointed out, Shane, was the dig differential, also on defense. Dayton with 41 digs to Duquesne's 26. Whenever you see a deficit like that, you know that a team is being dominated not only with their offense, but also with their ability to pick up their defensive game.
And the Flyers also added 3 total blocks during that second set, leading them to 5 blocks on the evening. Duquesne not able to get a block registered during set number 2. For the Dukes, hitting percentage-wise, Sarah Sherman, 3 kills, 4 errors, 18 total swings, hitting -056. Ashley Buse, 3 kills off 9 attacks, no errors for .333. Also, Liz Homan, 3 kills, 2 errors, 10 total swings for 100 hitting percentage. Fosha, 3 kills, 1 error, 21 swings, .095. Ariel Love, 2 kills, 2 errors, 12 attacks for 0 hitting percentage. And Patty Absher with one of those overpass kills with 1 kill off of 1 attack for 1,000. So you don't want your libero to be high in the kill category.
No.
But unfortunately, she statistically has the best swinging thus far of Duquesne, and that's something that the Dukes are going to have to get in touch with. And one of the things that we look at when we look at that, 10 total hitting errors for Duquesne off of 15 kills. So as a team, they're hitting .069. They're just going to have to find a way, and it looks like that they are spreading it out, much like the Flyers are.
Yes, they are.
Offensively, but they're just not able to find that go-to person that's able to get it done consistently for them.
Right. Well, Sarah Sherman last night was that person, not necessarily having the same success tonight, and I think that's due to some spotty passing at times. That means your offense becomes very predictable. They got to shoot it out there to Sherman, and she's not going to be able to produce always with a double block in her face. So, again, I said this last night at the turn after the first 2 sets, but Duquesne's got to come back and utilize those middles. Those are the only hitters for the Dukes of any consequence that have a positive hitting percentage so far. So you got to go back to Buse and Homan, and also, you know, look for Homan to have a little bit more of a presence, of a leadership out there. She's the senior on the court, you know, has been with the program here for 4 years. She's got to become more of a dominant presence, especially in the middle.
And this is not new territory for the Dukes, as last night they dropped the first 2 sets
Exactly.
to George Washington. A little bit closer in the set scores, though. It was 25-23, 25-21. Came out and grinded out a 28-26 third set win, and then went on to win 25-21, 15-11. So I don't think in their mind, they're saying that they're out of it, but it is hard back-to-back nights to come back from that kind of deficit, and it plays with your mental aspect of your game as you go through this tournament.
Exactly, but I think if anything, they've got to draw on the fact that they were able to, at this point last night, come back and end up winning in 5. I think if you're Steve Opperman in that locker room, I think it has to be a proper balance. You got to get after your team. You can't come out and have the display you did in set 2, coming out 25-11 in the Atlantic 10 championships. No matter who you're playing, that puts you at a great disadvantage. But after you kind of get after them for that, you got to settle back down and say, okay, we did this last night. We know what it takes to do it again. And I think a lot of that has to be cleaning up the errors, getting the middles involved, which will bring more production from those outsides. So.
And fans, remember to stay tuned after the matchup, as we will go over some final statistics once we have those, and then we will take a short break as we get ready for match number 2 tonight, the second semifinal of the evening, which will have the number 2 seeded Xavier Musketeers against the number 3 seeded St. Louis Billikens. So be sure to tune in for that, and then also join us tomorrow for the championship matchup at 3 p.m. We'll go on the air about 5 minutes before the start of that match, and that will be the winners of tonight's 2 semifinal matchups. So we will know that winner of this matchup before we go off the air with this first match, and then of course stay tuned to find out who this winner will meet tomorrow in the championship, with the NCAA automatic bid and the Atlantic 10 championship on the line. Remember, fans, you can find all of the latest news, scores, stories, and videos from around the conference. Just log on to the newly designed Atlantic 10 website at www.atlantic10.com. Following today's action, you can access recaps, stats, pictures, and more championship action. So both teams are out of their locker rooms and on the court ready to begin set number 3, and it will be Paige Vargas for the Flyers going back to serve. Flyers on our left side, Duquesne Dukes on our right. To Absher there, and it will be dug up in the back row for right, and that's going to be a kill by Fosha. So Fosha gets it going early for Duquesne. 1-0 Duquesne lead, and actually that's the only lead that Duquesne's had in this entire match. Never led in set number 1 or 2. Did tie it a couple of times early on.
Well, that's what Fosha's got to do, swing hard and start producing there for the Dukes.
And that time a middle kill by Megan Campbell. Didn't quite get it on the first try over, but the dig went into the net, and unable to bring it up was Jones. So Allie Morey will come into the lineup back to serve for Shane Brown. 1-1 here in set number 3. Dug up by right. Jones will set the slide to Homan. Selski will now set over to Yvonne Martin. She'll take a big swing. Sends Homan scrambling to put the set up, and Absher will send it over. Selski now setting the slide to Campbell, and it's going to be a kill on the slide. That time a bit of a tip attack, if you will, and the floor defense was there for the Dukes, but they weren't able to get the ball up. 2-1, Flyers on top. And that's going to be an ace for Allie Morey. Nice
Allie
placement
Morey
that time.
Leading the team in aces, but just a great all-around float serve there.
And so the Flyers are stopping here for just a moment, as it looks like there's a discussion going on with the officials, and Sam Selski goes over and talks to Barb Strom as Kelly Sheffield comes over and talks with Steve Webster, and whatever the situation was, it's been resolved now, and Allie Morey will go back to serve once again. Absher with the dig there. Jones will set over to the left side, push to the back line. Selski will now set the slide for Campbell. Good dig that time by Morey, one-arm corkscrew. And that time the attack by Kraybacker from back row will go long. So 3-2, Flyers on top, and back in to serve for Duquesne is Sydney Schwab, serving specialist, who will serve for Liz Homan. Vargas with the dig. Selski will now set the slide once again to Campbell, and Schwab will get that one. It'll be a free ball over. Morey will send it to Selski. Selski over to Yvonne Martin, and it's going to be a net violation by Jones as she was into the net, and so that's going to be a kill for the Flyers. A lucky break for the Flyers because the ball actually went out.
That ball sailed out of bounds. So a statistic I was looking at that I got was Maury did lead the team in service aces with 37 for the season.
Excellent
coming into tonight's match.
And that time a nice tool off the block as it was Sherman who was able to tool off the triple block, went to the outside left hand and got that one to go down. 4-3, Flyers in the lead, but Duquesne knocking at the door as they're back to serve. Jones. Dig by Morey. And Sam Selsky that time looked like she was going to try to play that, just sent it over and went right between the blockers. I'm sure the stat crew's having a fun time tonight trying to figure out what they're going to call
what's
all
a
of these.
kill, what's a block. I know, I still have questions about that.
And that time an overpass leaves it to a kill by Rachel Krabacker, and unfortunately went off the face of one of the Duquesne players. And
I believe it was Ashley Buse who
one
caught
went
the
off
brunt of
Buse,
that ball
so
right there on the 10-foot line.
unfortunately caught the full effect of Rachel Krabacker, and
Yes.
that's an ace for Megan Campbell as that was knuckleballed into the net. Campbell back to serve once again for Dayton. Flyers on top 7-3. Dig by Fosha. Set to the back row. Martin digs that one up. Selsky will give it over to Krabacker. She tools it off the block, and the block goes out of bounds, and it's 8-3. Flyers on top.
What's always interesting, the crowd will get way more involved off of a swing off of someone's face, but that tool shot by Rachel Krabacker just as effective.
And so it'll be Jones setting that one up. Morey with a nice dig. Selsky will turn and fire. Comes back to the Flyers. Selsky will set up again, this time for Krabacker. Nice dig by Absher, and now it's over to, that was Sherman, and on the block, Z. Hannon and Sam Selsky. And that's something we've seen Selsky struggle with this year, is getting her hands turned in.
Yes, that outside hand. Most teams have had an opportunity to tool her off that outside hand, so it's nice to see that she's improved on that as the season's gone on.
Tip shot there, a nice effort by Megan Campbell, but it will be a kill for Sarah Sherman as she saw the middle part of the court wide open and took advantage. Now Sherman back to serve for Duquesne, 9-4. Flyers on top. Jump serve there, nicely handled by Morey. Krabacker will swing and scuds that one out of bounds toward the student section. 9-5. Flyers with the lead, but Duquesne hanging in there as Sherman with that deadly topspin jump serve.
Yes.
And it goes into the top of the tape and will be a service error, and Shane Brown sprints to the sub zone, and she'll come back into the lineup for the Flyers as Allie Morey will come out. Sam Selsky back to serve for Dayton. Flyers on top 10-5. Dig that time by Absher. Jones pushing over to Fosha. Goes off the hands. One arm save there, and it will be a free ball sent over by the Flyers. Jones again. This time she'll set the right side, and that's going to be a kill for Sam Selsky.
I thought that was dropping in.
She beach dug that with two hands together, and Duquesne just let it go.
Well, she is from California, Shane.
She is from California, so I'm going to give her the beach dig on the California Express this time. Jones sets to the middle, and this time it will go down between the block and the net, so it will be a point for Duquesne. It was Ariel Love with the kill that time. And serving is Patty Absher. Krabacker with the dig. Now setting on the slide to Shane Brown. She goes line and gets it off the block, and it's 12-6, Dayton on top. Krabacker back to serve for the Flyers.
Well, Dayton just continuing to put pressure here on this Duquesne defense.
Float serve there by Krabacker. Jones to the middle to Love. Scuds that one out of bounds, and it will be 13-6.
I think
Flyers
she was,
on top.
again, looking for some hands that weren't there. They got to be able to put those balls into play to give themselves a chance here in this third set.
And Krabacker's serve will go long, and that will be a service error for Dayton. And a point for Duquesne, 13-7, as it will be Wright coming back into the lineup, and she will be back to serve for Love. Wright playing as a defensive specialist, even though she's listed as an outside hitter, coming in to serve for Love and play the back row. Over to Martin, and Martin will get the kill as it went off the hands of the blocker and into Duquesne's court. Paige Vargas back to serve. Z. Hannon comes out for Dayton. Flyers on top 14-7. All business thus far for Dayton.
Yes, I think the word so far for Dayton, you couldn't have put it better yourself, Shane. It's focus here. They seem very focused here through this first 2 sets and into this third.
And now Allison Fosha gets the kill that time off the block. Martin there, but unable to dig it up. And it will be Fosha going back to the service line. Her team down 6, 14-8. Martin with a nice pass there to Selski. Campbell sends that one over, trying to push it to the line. And it's going to be a block in the middle that time by Shane Brown and Megan Campbell. 15-8, Flyers on top. Shane Brown will come out. Allie Morey will go back to serve for Dayton. Flyers in control, 15-8. They lead the best-of-5 series 2-0. Trying to make this a 3-and-done situation. Absher with that. Jones will set that to the middle. Selski will dig it up, leading Morey to set that for Yvonne Martin, and Martin terminates.
That was as good of a swing as I've seen Yvonne Martin hit, from a high point of contact, down with some power into the deep part of that right side half of the court. It was a great shot.
Allie Morey back to serve. She moves over to the left side of the service line. Jones will set the slide there, and that's going to be a block by Yvonne Martin and Megan Campbell, as the right slide attack was met with a ferocious answer on the Dayton side, and it's 17-8. Flyers on top. Duquesne calls timeout. So the Flyers seem to be in control here.
They are. It's kind of do or die time here for Duquesne. They've got to make a move significantly here now. Every serve, they've got to rattle off at least 3 to 4 points to put them back in contention here and to gain any sort of momentum that they haven't sustained throughout any part of this match thus far. So
Flyers looking to advance to the A10 championship again. Looking for their 3rd straight Atlantic 10 tournament title. They've been in the final in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, and looking to get there again in 2011. And, you know, Coach Sheffield was saying earlier that this team is a young team as far as the starters who are out there. This is really their first A10 tournament experience as a starting group. It's a completely different team from what he had last year. And part of that you can see as Rachel Krabacker went from being a student athlete and a player who didn't appear on any all-conference team last year and comes out as player of the year this year.
It's interesting to note that all the Flyers that received accolades all-conference were not selected. They're all new this year, so it just shows that this team was focused and ready to come in and play this season and have some success.
And a little back and forth here as Selski will now get it over to Yvonne Martin, and she terminates to the back line. Martin doing a nice job, and Selski and Morey both on the sets, getting her outside and off the net. Seems to be doing a lot better when she's a little farther off the net. Morey back to serve, 18-8, Flyers on top. And that's going to be a service ace for the Flyers. And Allie Morey continuing to rack up the ace numbers.
Yes, I believe that was her 3rd one this, almost at least her 2nd one this set so far.
Doing a nice job from the service line. And there another
there's her 3rd
ace.
at least.
That time Absher shanks that one out of bounds. 20-8, Flyers on top, and that's going to be the 2nd timeout for Duquesne, as they are in quite a bit of a hole here, and it'll be interesting. You know, Allie Morey takes great pride in being able to get those service aces, but it's not by accident, and it's not because of how hard she serves. For Allie Morey, it's all about placement.
Yes.
She has surgical precision with where she wants the ball to go, and pretty much any time she can put the ball in any zone you tell her to.
You're right about that, Shane. She takes great pride in that. Came in as a freshman originally recruited as a setter for this team, kind of grew her niche into the defensive and serving specialist niche for the Dayton Flyers, and there's no doubt that's no small role or small task here. She proves to be effective, leading her team in aces and continues to improve her defensive game. And really, she's just a spark plug for this Dayton Flyer team.
So the Flyers looking to close this up as quickly as possible as the student section getting into the cheers here on the pep band and getting a lot of good student involvement and student participation here out at the Frierick Center tonight. There's Allie Morey's serve there. Jones will send that one over, and now Vargas will dig that one up. Martin will set Krabacher. She'll tip it from the back row, and over to Sherman once again. Hand touch there. Selski will now set the back row to Krabacher. She gets the tip off the tape, and it will be another attack this time by Sherman. Sent over to Martin. Martin will tool it off the block, and it will be a point for the Flyers, 21-8.
Again, Selski taking advantage of noting the height differential and size differential of Jones and Martin and feeding Martin that ball.
Allie Morey back to serve once again. She'll go down the sideline, and that time Yvonne Martin tried to put that away on the overpass, unable to. And it's going to be a scud out of bounds, that time sent by Sherman as she tried to go line. Had the line open, but just couldn't get it to go down. Good decision that time by Sherman, the right decision. Allie Morey back to serve, Flyers on top 22-8. And a little bit of back and forth here, and that's going to be a attack error by Sherman. Sherman, instead of sending that free ball over and allowing the Flyers to reset, she has been just turning and firing on anything that comes within her playing space. But it's led to 2 errors now as Allie Morey back to serve. Dug up that time by Fosha. On the slide is Holman, and that was effective that time for Duquesne as they get the point. And Fosha, unfortunately, now goes out for the Dukes as it's her turn to serve, so Schwab will go back to serve for Fosha. 23-9, Flyers on top.
And this farewell could be her last serve of her volleyball career here.
Dug by Vargas. Selski on the slide to Martin, and now Morey. And now Selski sends it over, and she hardly ever does a set or dump like that. She typically turns and fires.
Yes, that's a traditional, more traditional approach to the setter dump.
And that's more like what you'd see out of a right-handed setter. But now Rachel Jones coming into the lineup here as Yvonne Martin will come out. Jones will come in to serve match point in her first ever appearance in an Atlantic 10 tournament match. Jones' serve goes down, and it's going to be a free ball sent over. Morey with the dig. Selski with the set over to Krabacher. Krabacher gets the block there. That time Vargas picks up. Turn and burn will Sam Selski, and that will do it as the Flyers will take the semifinal matchup 25-9 in the third. They win 3-0. Set scores of 25-14, 25-11, and 25-9. A commanding performance by Dayton, and they will advance to the championship matchup on Sunday, 3 p.m. here at the Frierick Center, and it will be their 5th consecutive trip to the Atlantic 10 Tournament Championship. And they'll be looking forward to seeing a crowd here tomorrow. We encourage you to join us here on Dayton Flyers, on Atlantic10.com.
Yes.
You can get to us from all of the different sites, but Atlantic10.com is where we're going from. And we'll look forward to listening or watching that match with you and calling it for you, as we'll have the next match set up here soon, as the Flyers have now left the building and getting ready for our next semifinal matchup. And we'll see who will the Flyers meet. Will it be the number 2 seed the number 2 seed Xavier Musketeers, or the number 3 seed St. Louis Billikens? Stay tuned here to Atlantic10.com to find out who will be in that semifinal matchup with the Dayton Flyers. Finished that match a little bit early as 6:14 is the time now. I believe the next match is scheduled to begin at 7:30. So both teams will have a full hour
warm up.
So for Shane White, I'm Mandy Roby. We appreciate you joining us here on the Atlantic 10 NCAA.com network, and we will see you again on Sunday for the championship, 3 p.m. here at the Frerick Center. Come back and visit us at 7:30 as we will have the semifinal matchup number 2 between St. Louis and Xavier. For Shane White, I'm Mandy Roby. Good night, everyone, from the Frerick Center.